Nailed it. Bartended for 8 years. And I am the East Coast brand ambassador for Starward Whisky here in the United States. Starward hails from Melbourne, Australia. We've been in America for about 1.5 years, and we're gonna make some cocktails with it today for Cocktail Collective. Before we do, however, I would like to acknowledge that we are standing on Munsee Lenape and Wappinger territory, the original custodians of the land, and we honor their elders past, present, and future. Let's jump into Starward. So, Starward, we've got 3 SKUs all in all, but I'm just going to talk about one of them today, but we're going to mention the Nova because it's delicious, it's a single malt, it's matured in red wine barrels, but we won't really be using it, so it's just going to be eye candy right here. What we will be working with is the twofold. So the twofold is 60% wheat, 40% malted barley, matured entirely in Australian red wine barrels. So we all know like a big Aussie Shiraz, we use that to mature the whiskey. We also use Pinot Noir and Cab Sav. Because of our brewing process, because of our distillation process, and because of our maturation process, we've got a really versatile and malleable whiskey here. And we're gonna make 3 completely different cocktails with it. We're gonna make a highball, we're gonna make a Hotel Nacional, and we're gonna make a fancy little Manhattan, all with 1 whiskey. Which means that this could be the 1 brown spirit that you need on your shelf. Let's make some cocktails! Okay, we are going to make the easiest cocktail there is to make ever. It's 2 ingredients. We're going to be using the Starward Twofold and the Fever Tree Tonic. So, start off with the Starward Twofold, 2 ounces of that in a big glass. Boop. Then you're going to ice it. And top it off with tonic water. So the reason the twofold works really well in this cocktail is it's got big zingy flavors that really get punched up by the aromatics of the tonic. However, you don't need to use tonic. You can use ginger beer, you can use soda water, use whatever you want, as long as it's got bubbles. And then you add a little bit of a citrus to it. I'm gonna add a little bit of a lime because that's what my friends had in their fridge. And then you could get fancy and put one on the side. God damn it. Oh yeah, thanks Ryan. Swirl it to disperse all the flavors and to feel like a real at-home bartender. This is really loud. Whoops. And you can add it on the side, and you got yourself a fancy little highball with whiskey. Okay, so now we're gonna get a little bit fancier and we're gonna make a Manhattan for those fancy evenings of COVID. You dress up by yourself and make yourself a nice little cocktail. Or if you're one of the lucky ones and you know, have housemates, I don't know. Okay, so first, a Manhattan is actually very easy. It's also 3 ingredients, not also, it is 3 ingredients. We're going to start off with the Starward Twofold. You're supposed to start off with the liqueur, but I'm going to start off with the Starward because that's how I want to make this cocktail. So 2 ounces of that in your little fancy mixing glass if you have one. So the Starward is especially good for a Manhattan because everything is matured in Australian red wine barrels. So the whiskey itself tastes a little bit like red wine, which works really well in Manhattan because we're going to be using sweet vermouth. Sweet vermouth. Nailed it. 1 ounce of sweet vermouth. My choice is the Kochi. It's good. There's also another one which I forgot the name of, but the label looks similar. Also good, but we use Kotry. Great. Then we're gonna add some ice, and then you're gonna do a little swirly, 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 like 30 seconds to dilute it. Then you're gonna add some Angostura bitters, 2 dashes. Boop, boop. And then you're gonna do a swirly, swirly. Swirly, swirly, swirly. You're gonna get your coupe. We don't have a coupe, so we have this small goblet to use. You're gonna get yourself a little strainer. I should have rehearsed this. We are going to make the Hotel Nacional, which is a tiki cocktail. Before we start making it, I would like to acknowledge that the tiki comes from ancient Polynesian tradition, and although it's been westernized and we see tiki everywhere, it stems from or is derived from the tradition, religion, and culture of the South Pacific. So, let's dive in. We are going to be using the Starward twofold once again, and the Starward twofold works really well in tropical drinks because it's got a lot of tropical esters, and that has to do with the way that we brew before we distill and mature the whiskey. It creates a lot of banana and pineapple. You sometimes get peach and apricot in there, so it gets really pumped up in any kind of tropical cocktail. So 2 ounces of this in your shaker. Then we're gonna have a little bit of an apricot liqueur. We're using the Apri. I don't have any personal attachment to this, except that the lovely lady at my local liquor store told me that it was good. So we are going to be using, Ryan, 1/4?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sick. It's getting better and better. 1/4 of the Apri. We're gonna have a little bit of lime juice, 1/2. Yes?
Yes.
And how much pineapple juice do we need?
We're gonna go with 3/4, Kotryna.
3/4 of the pineapple juice. So you could also add sugar. It depends on how sweet you want your cocktail to be. But for me, pineapple juice tends to just be sweet enough, so I don't add any sugar to it. Then we're gonna add some ice, and we're gonna shake it. And you don't need to shake this one very hard. Should I even be talking? You can't hear me. I can still keep talking and see what happens. Very important information right here. Here we go. Hope everybody got that. It's my least favorite part. And then we're gonna strain it. Normally for tiki, you would usually have like a big tiki mug. We don't have those, and also this is a tiki that's served up, so we don't need to do that. I'm gonna strain it. Don't have a strainer, so we're doing it this way. And add a little lime wedge. Here you go. Fun little cocktail for you. You can drink it in your backyard or in your bedroom. That is really good. Okay, so she could just cut there, right? Yep.